Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Kaspa Miniseries. I'm Alex. We are continuing our mission to compress the epic 7.5-hour The Bitcoin Takeover podcast into small, powerful highlight episodes.
And I'm Jamie. We've talked a lot about Bitcoin in this series because it's the foundation Kaspa was built upon. But there's another giant in the room, the one that pioneered the idea of a world computer, Ethereum.
It's a comparison that has to be made. If Kaspa wants to support a new world of finance, it's stepping directly into Ethereum's territory. Today's episode is Kaspa versus Ethereum, a different path, and we're going to explore how Kaspa's design is a direct response to both the successes and the perceived flaws of the Ethereum ecosystem.
This was a huge part of Yonatan conversation with Vlad. It starts with the fundamental difference in their consensus models, proof of work versus proof of stake. For years, a dominant narrative in the space was that you needed proof of stake for DeFi.
Right, Vlad brought this up. The argument was that proof of work, with its probabilistic finality and potential for chain reorganizations, or reorgs, was too unstable to support complex financial applications.
But Yonatan completely dismantled that idea. He said, "I never understood it to begin with." He explained that a reorg in a POW system doesn't break the consistency of DeFi. As he put it, this DeFi branch is replaced. By this DeFi branch, the consistency remains, just replaced.
So it's like a train switching tracks. The train, the state of the network, is still intact. It just ends up on a slightly different path. For users inside the system, the logic still holds. He argued that the only time reorgs are a major problem is when you are bridging to other networks.
Exactly. By building a proof-of-work system with incredibly fast finality, just a few seconds, Kaspa aims to prove that the narrative was wrong. It's a direct challenge to the idea that you have to abandon POW to get the performance needed for finance.
This leads to the next major point of contrast, the overall architecture for smart contracts and scalability. Ethereum has embraced what's called a rollup-centric roadmap.
What does that mean for the average person?
It means most of the action on Ethereum doesn't happen on the main chain. It happens on layer 2 solutions like Arbitrum, Optimism, and Polygon. Think of Ethereum as the foundational security layer, like the bedrock of a city. And all these L2s are like independent skyscrapers built on top of it.
That sounds good in theory, but Yonatan sees a huge problem with this model. He called it Ethereum's fragmentation problem. He argued that these different rollups are like competing islands. They all want to attract users and developers to their island and keep them there.
He was very direct about this, stating, rollup entities do not have incentives to interoperate. He sees it as a game where each L2 tries to become its own centralized hub, siphoning network effects away from the main chain and from each other.
So instead of one cohesive city, you get a bunch of disconnected skyscrapers with their own separate economies and very little incentive to build bridges between them. This creates a terrible user experience, where moving assets between L2s is slow, expensive, and complicated.
This is where Kaspa's vision for smart contracts diverges completely. Yonatan is designing a system to avoid this fragmentation from day one. He described his goal as creating a Solana-like experience, which he defined as feeling monolithic from the user's perspective.
Monolithic? Does that mean everything runs on the base layer?
No, and this is the key distinction. He's not talking about a monolithic execution layer like Solana. The computation will still happen on a separate layer, similar to Ethereum's L2s, but the experience will feel seamless and integrated.
Okay, so how do you achieve that? If Ethereum is a city of disconnected skyscrapers, what is Kaspa trying to build?
Think of it like a single, massive, perfectly integrated department store. Each department, let's say Uniswap is the electronics department and Aave is the home goods department, is its own sovereign unit. But as a customer, you can seamlessly walk between them. More importantly, you can put items from different departments into a single shopping cart and check out in a single atomic transaction.
That's the magic word. Synchronous Composability. It means different applications can talk to each other and interact within the same transaction, instantly. Yonatan argued that without this, you inevitably get the fragmentation we see on Ethereum, because users and developers will always flock to the applications that are walled off together for a better experience.
Exactly. He believes that by building synchronous composability into the very fabric of Kaspa's smart contract layer, you create incentives for developers to build applications that work together, rather than competing to build the biggest island. He said, apps want to interoperate, and rollups don't want to interoperate.
So Kaspa's approach is a direct lesson learned from watching Ethereum's ecosystem evolve. He's trying to build a system that maintains the sovereignty of individual applications while ensuring they all exist within a single cohesive universe for the user.
And he feels that Kaspa has a huge timing advantage here. He said, "We are developing smart contracts in the era where ZKs are in the horizon." Bitcoin couldn't have done this, and Ethereum had to bolt on L2s after the fact. Kaspa gets to design its smart contract layer from the ground up with all this new technology in mind.
So let's recap the fundamental differences. First, consensus. Kaspa is sticking with proof of work, aiming to prove it can be fast enough for DeFi, while Ethereum has moved to proof of stake.
Second, architecture. Ethereum has embraced a fragmented, roll-up-centric future with many competing L2s. Kaspa is designing for a cohesive, monolithic-feeling experience built on synchronous composability, aiming to avoid those roll-up wars before they even start.
And third, the culture. Ethereum has a massive, diverse, and sometimes chaotic community of builders. Kaspa's goal is to create a more focused society of developers who are building interoperable applications within a single, coherent system.
Ultimately, Kaspa isn't trying to be an Ethereum killer. It's proposing a fundamentally different answer to the same question. How do you build a scalable, decentralized world computer? Ethereum's answer is a modular network of competing islands. Kaspa's answer is a single, integrated, high-speed continent.
A perfect way to frame it. And that's our look at the deep-seated differences between Kaspa and Ethereum. Join us for our next episode as we explore the future of Kaspa, the Dagnai protocol, and the ambitious vision for 100 blocks per second.
Thanks for tuning in to the Kaspa Miniseries.